Hey, Kingdom! Do you ever feel that this tiny cantrips is just a warm-up for really fiery booms and sparkly poofs? Listen up, while there's definitely some weak cantrips that you should never use, you will be shocked that there's 10 cantrips that in some situations is a lot more powerful than spells. So today I ranked top 10 cantrips that's totally crush in Baldur's Gate 3. Let's go! And number 10 in our list is Bone Chill. All damaging cantrips is scaling with your character level, so level 1 Bone Chill will do 1d8 damage. When it's upgraded, it will be added with additional 1d8 dice, and at maximum level, when you level up your character, you will have 3d8 damage. That's not biggest damage of all cantrips, that's why it's so low in the list. But first of all, this cantrip got nice range. As you can see, it's pretty long, 18 meters. And while in most situations against other enemies you want to use other cantrips that do more damage, when you're fighting against undeads, Bone Chill come in very handy, because for one turn it will inflict Bone Chill status effect on them. They can't regain hit points, so if you don't want for enemy to have heal, then you can definitely cast Bone Chill on them. Very useful against enemies that can heal themselves or got allies like clerics. But also if you cast it on undead, they will have disadvantage on attack rolls. And disadvantage means they will roll 2 dice and use lower value. So you can chill when you're fighting against undeads while using Bone Chill. And now next cantrip. It will be Vicious Mockery. Damage is really laughable. Basically you're doing only 1d4 damage. And this cantrip comes from Bard class. But again, you will have same ability like in Bone Chill versus Undeads, but now you can use it against every enemy. If enemy will fail Charisma saving throw, they will have disadvantage on next attack rolls. And while damage is real joke, again reminding you, this cantrip can do really bad stuff for your enemies. You don't need line of sight to land this cantrip, that's good one. But problem that you will inflict 0 damage if enemy succeed Charisma saving throw. This cantrip can be very useful, but that's why it's so low on the list. So what's next up on the list? Next one is Light. Yeah, Light doing no damage at all. But this cantrip is really good. What it does, it inflicts light on your or your ally's weapon. You can cast it on yourself, and now your weapon is lighted up, or you can cast it on your ally. Well, you can cast it only on one weapon with one character. Coolest part, that this requires no concentration at all. What light doing? Of course it will lighten up dark areas. But coolest part, if enemy standing in the dark, normally you will have disadvantage on your attack rolls. This will prevent it. You basically light up your enemies, they can't hide in shadows, and this makes light really useful cantrip. Basically completely free buff until your next long rest. Next cantrip will be shocking for you. Why it's so low on the list? It's no other than Firebolt. Well, it's definitely my favorite cantrip. All it's doing is 1d10 damage. A really nice damage for basic cantrip. At larger levels you're doing 3d10 damage, and sometimes you just need a spark of fire. When you need to disable some vines like this, twisting vines will be disabled instantly with one spark of fire. Or maybe you need to light up some bombs, fireworks and other stuff. It come in handy really a lot of time. But in some areas you don't want to use fire because it can blow your party up. And that's basically making Firebolt basic damaging cantrip. It's useful and powerful, but without a lot of additional benefits. So that's my reason to put Fireball so low on the list. A little bit lower than middle. But what in the middle? And in the middle we got no other than Turnwhip. Turnwhip doing a lot less damage than Firebolt. Firebolt can do up to 30 damage at max level, when Turnwhip can do only 18. It's doing piercing damage, so that's kinda normal weapon damage. But coolest part, you can pull creatures 3 meters closer to you. It's very useful for druids, and it comes from druids basically, to pull targets into dangerous areas, but it can be very useful cantrip, because this game uses a lot of verticality, and when enemies standing on the high ground, it can be really easy to pull them from the high ground to the different and very dangerous places. Like this lady, she's standing on such a high ground, so we can help her get down. Or if we got two characters in party with this cantrip, we can even help get down this guy first. Come here, boy. And one more time. Just in a hole. Goodbye, bro. Lady, get over here. Oh my goodness. And I'm starting my top 5 with Ray of Frost. Why Ray of Frost? It's doing less damage than Firebolt again. But damage is not all in this game. Ray of Frost can froze water. You will find a lot of water in this game. You can even create some water by yourself. So by freezing this water, you will create ice, and enemies can sleep on ice and basically lose their turn. So what's so special about Ray of Frost? It reduces target movement speed by 3 meters. And movement speed is really the king. What you can do with the basic Ray of Frost, you can stand at maximum distance or almost maximum distance and just hit your targets. So let's start this fight. And now we can basically kite our enemies. So instead of standing in one place, we get in back a little bit. And because our enemies get so low movement speed while they frosted, they will need to use dash action to get up to us. So he's just dashing and trying to run. Today we basically can solo wall armies. We just chill them one by one. He's chilled, and now we get more movement speed so we can freely run away. And Aaron is just dashing, trying to get up to us. In a nutshell, this playstyle is a little bit boring, of course. But again, it's useful, effective, and really powerful one. That's why Ray of Frost is so high in my list. But what can be better? Shocking Grasp, of course. Shocking Grasp is a melee cantrip, so you can't cast it from a long range normally. But that's what making this cantrip so good. When you hit target with Shocking Grasp, target cannot use reactions, and the spell has advantage on creatures with metal armor. A lot of creatures will have metal armor, especially creatures that go into melee range. So look, we got advantage on this guy, and when he came into melee range, all other cantrips will be really bad. So when we will try to hit Firebolt, it will have disadvantage and lower hit chance. But Shocking Grasp, on the other hand, will have higher hit chance, and when we hit this enemy, he can't use reactions, and this means we can escape without provoking opportunity attacks. Very useful for mages, so that's why Shocking Grasp is such a high place in my list. Next spot in my list is Minor Illusion. We are in a top 3. Yeah, in my opinion, Minor Illusion is top 3 cantrip in the game. Coolest part, it can be useful outside of the combat. But even in the combat, you can play this Minor Illusion and it will take investigation check from enemies. Investigation is intelligence check, and high intelligence is not always possible for a lot of enemies. I mean, a lot of enemies is really dumb. So casting Minor Illusion in the combat will make enemies at least turn away from you. While they turned away, you can run away, you can hide, and if enemies fail this check, they will always every turn look at this cat illusion. So very useful, but also it's very useful outside of the combat. In situations like this, maybe you need to pull enemies away from you. You just cast Minor Illusion, and magically all enemies will try to investigate. They come in nearby, and you just come in and push them, easily avoiding combat completely. Being able to avoid combat is really powerful stuff, or even win hard battles in one push. That's why Minor Illusion is on top 3 spot. So what's on top 2? On top 2 is another way to avoid combat. By using second cantrip, cantrip that got second place in my top 10 list, you can win boss battles without fight. And it's no other than Guidance. Guidance is really basic cantrip. It requires concentration and adding 1d4 bonus to your ability checks. So while your character is in dialogue, you can use dialogue options with persuasion, intimidation, deception, and other stuff. To succeed on these checks, you need to roll dice. And that's ability check, so you just add in your bonus, and guidance is completely free stuff. You don't need to think in advance, you just add this bonus completely free when you're confronting hard dialogue checks. And then you just roll in dice. You need to roll 10, you rolled 8, but with help of guidance you will most likely succeed and roll what you need. And completely avoid combat. Enemies will just run away or disappear. And here we are, best cantrip in the game. I guess everyone knows what it is. It is Eldritch Blast. Yeah, even on maximum level it's not looking too good. It's just 1d10 force damage. But cool part, when you leveling your Warlock, it's Warlock spell of course, you can add your Charisma modifier to your Agonizing Blast damage, so we add in flat 5 damage. Not rolling dice is really powerful stuff, but don't get fooled when you're leveling your Warlock or just your character, so every character of high level will have this powerful Eldritch Blast. You're not doing just one Eldritch Blast, you can do 3 at a time. That's really powerful and cool ability. 3 arrays of Eldritch Force damage, while every other cantrip in my list doing different damage type like fire, cold or lightning. Enemies will have resistance to these damage types, but resistance to force damage is almost not present in any type of form in this game. Only few characters got resistance to force damage. And being able to do 3 arrays into one character, or to spread this race among all characters, is really powerful and flexible way to use your spell. And that's definitely highest damage output of all cantrips, with ability to choose how much targets you want to hit. And as you can see, you even can push enemies away if you got this Repelling Blast passive. And I guess it's no brainer, while Eldritch Blast got this high spot in my list. So that's my list, write in the comments if you not agree with it. And I hope you enjoyed this video, see you in the other videos. You can watch them on the screen right now.